Welcome to the Money Answer Show with host Jordan Goodman. Whether you are starting out, deep into your retirement, or somewhere in between, the Money Answer Show has the know-how to help you. Now here's your host, Jordan Goodman.
Welcome to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Lior Gantz. He is the founder of the Wealth Research Group, and you can find out more about him at wealthresearchgroup.com. Welcome to the Money Answer Show, Lior.
Thanks for having me again, Jordan.
Just give us a little background. People haven't heard about you before, about your background and the forming of the Wealth Research Group.
Definitely. I think it starts at the age of 13, and I'll really make it brief because I just celebrated 34. So we're not going to do 21 years of resume. But originally what happened to me is my dad went bankrupt when I was 13. And then proceeded to go bankrupt again when I was 18 and 22. So living in a house where my dad was a businessman and a failed one, I kind of had to figure out my own way in regards to money and formulated my own strategies. And I really saved a lot of money early on because that was my mentality, right? My dad has lost everything. And so I started doing babysitting and painting decks and delivering pizzas, delivering everything else, assisting in basketball coaching, all this between the age of 13 and 18. And I saved like $20,000 and started investing it because my grandfather gave me a Warren Buffett book. And this was 3 months after the dot-com bubble burst. So it was a great time to get into the stock market. But obviously, this is in hindsight. I didn't know that at the time. So beginner's luck, you want to call it. And I've been an investor ever since, so 18 years going, and an entrepreneur, a business person. And in around 2015, what happened to me was I wanted to liquidate and close a very profitable small fund that I ran for about 10 clients that are well-to-do clients, because what I wanted to do is reach a larger audience, and that's how the idea of a newsletter came, because that gives access to anyone who wants to know more about financial education and wants to I want to share my ideas and he wants to listen. That's how wealthresearchgroup.com was formed, and it's a newsletter that is also generic, talks about the economy in general. And it's also specific. It talks about opportunities and what I'm doing with my own money.
So give us the mission of what's Wealth Research Group and what's different about it than other financial newsletters?
I think the most important differential is the fact that I don't hold back. In other words, I talk about the economy in general, but I talk about what I'm doing with my own money specifically and about opportunities with large cap stocks, but also with small cap stocks. And to give you an example, in 2017, we covered Bitcoin, for example, at $400. It went to over 20,000. We were the first newsletter in the world to cover Ethereum at $12. We all know it did a 90-fold move. I had a number of subscribers to put like $3 or $4 grand into it, and obviously you can make the calculations, and they made millions. So these are the type of opportunities that we talk about at the Wealth Research Group letter, and it's unique because most newsletter writers are very they hold back. They don't want to share. And my thing is, I wanted to make sure that we share everything that I do, because that's the sole reason to even do this. What would I tell you if our roles were reversed? Is kind of the mission of Wealth Research Group.
So let's go around to cryptocurrencies. That's an area you know so much about. They did have a huge rise at the end of last year, and they've been pretty much falling. They've bounced a little bit lately, but certainly they've fallen from the peaks of late 2017. What is your long and short-term view of what's going to happen in cryptocurrencies, and which specific ones do you think people should be getting into?
Let's start with the most important thing, which are the five factors which determine the price of cryptocurrencies. So, and this is proprietary, this is what we have come up with. Obviously, many people will pick and choose between them, but the number one thing is the mining cost. How much does it take in energy, electricity, and the rest of it to mine a cryptocurrency. Let's give an example of Bitcoin. The price of any commodity or of any asset that needs to be extracted and refined or whatever. It could be oil, it could be gold, it could be silver, it could be copper, it could be corn or coffee. It doesn't matter. If there's a price to it, then obviously that entire chain wants to be profitable, and then the end client needs to pay a premium over the cost of mining, so everyone makes money along the way. That's the ideal situation in a free and efficient market. So the price of Bitcoin, for example, has a lot to do with how much it costs to mine it. By the end of the year, it could be as much as $9,000 per coin. So right now, the price right now is very unique because it's trading right around that mining cost, and throughout the last 2 years, it is traded at about a 2.5 times premium to the mining cost. So if the mining cost is about $8,000, it would trade for 20 grand. Right now, the mining cost is about $6,000, and it trades for about $6,000. So it's a unique environment with that regard. The second thing is that we have to think about Bitcoin as a currency. So it competes with other currencies. It competes with fiat currencies, and it competes with other altcoins such as Dash, Monero, or Litecoin, for example. So when it competes for our dollars or for our currency with other currencies, it goes through ebbs and flows. And we're seeing that as well. The third thing is the layer that is patented or unique to Bitcoin, the technology part. And so because Bitcoin is not only a currency, but it's a protocol, it's a technology, and it evolves. The more it evolves, the better it can be valued. The more it detracts and has bugs or issues as a community, the less premium you pay for that. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a problem with, obviously, with scaling, and we want to make sure that the network wants to make sure that it can scale with what we call the Lightning Network going forward, and that will allow Bitcoin to have a much greater value.
So that's one of the reasons you're saying. That's one of the reasons why it's come down recently.
Definitely. It's
but it's being worked out. You're saying it's being worked out.
It's being theoretically worked out by the Lightning Network. It will be up to the market to see if it accepts this solution. This solution is theoretically going to solve the scaling problem. But if it doesn't, then something else will. In other words, this is an evolving technology, and there's enough brain power thinking about this in order to create a solution for Bitcoin in the longer term. Okay. The fourth thing, obviously, Jordan, is regulations. This is something unique to Bitcoin, but it affects the price a lot because obviously when you have an asset class that is not fully regulated or not properly regulated, in other words, there's no bottom line yet. There's no end result, and it varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. You're going to have a lot of fluctuation, a lot of volatility. And the fifth part, which drove this mania in 2017, is speculative money. And so it all goes back to that funny story about the fisherman in California who started a rumor that the sardines are evaporating from the oceans, and a sardine price mania started. So about 6 months into the sardine mania, one of the fishermen opens up a can and he says, "Man, these things don't taste that good." And his friend tells him, "No, these are not eating sardines; they're trading sardines." So in other words, people were just buying them in order to sell them for higher, and that is not the end goal of Bitcoin. That is not what if it survives, it's not what it will be in 5 to 10 to 20 years. It's a medium of exchange. It's a currency. It's a technology. It's outside government, and that's the big thing about it. It's outside the government. So if you don't like Bank of America shutting your account down whenever it wants for any reason, which they can, then you got to realize that Bitcoin offers international solutions, and we can talk much more about this, but
we will.
There's so much to it. It's definitely a unique asset because it has a social angle as well. It's sort of a revolutionary asset class because it has such a broad social impact as well, not only financial.
Okay, we're going to talk about more after the break. This is Jordan Goodman of the Money Answer Show. My guest this hour is Lior Gantz. He is the founder of Wealth Research Group, and you can find out more at his website, wealthresearchgroup.com. We'll be back after this.
We're always talking business. Talk to an expert. Call now toll free 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
We've all been there, struggling to keep up with credit card payments, searching for a simpler, safer way out of debt. Well, here it is. Cambridge Credit Counseling is a nonprofit service that has been helping people reduce or eliminate their credit card debt for over 20 years. Most of us have made late payments and even gone over our credit limits. Before we know it, our balances are out of control, and we can barely afford to make the minimum payments. If this sounds familiar and you're ready to take control of your debts, call Cambridge right away at 1-800-897-2200 for a debt-free analysis. Cambridge will work with your creditors and may be able to reduce your interest rates and get you out of debt fast. In fact, Cambridge's typical debt management clients save almost $150 every month on their credit card payments, and they're debt-free in just 50 months. So there is a simpler, safer way out of debt, and it all starts with Cambridge Credit Counseling. Call 1-800-897-2200 for your free debt analysis. Cambridge Credit Counseling is a Massachusetts-based nonprofit agency providing services nationwide. For complete licensing information, visit them online at cambridge-credit.org. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
Has your small business been turned down for a loan by the bank? Is lack of capital hindering your business growth? Small businesses unable to obtain bank financing or tired of merchant cash advances can now get the financing they need. Corporate Lending Solutions provides short and long-term capital, revolving lines of credit, and unsecured business loans. Does your business need help with payables, supplies, or payroll? Corporate Lending Solutions has powerful programs to help. While getting a small business loan can be a long, daunting process, with Corporate Lending Solutions, it's simple and takes only 1 to 3 days. Call 800-261-6478 or visit corporatelendingsolutions.com to learn more. 800-261-6478. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
We're always talking business. Talk to an expert. Call now, toll free, 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
You've been listening to the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Lior Gantz. He is the founder of the Wealth Research Group. You can find out more about him at his website, wealthresearchgroup.com. Welcome back to the show, Lior.
Hey, thanks.
We wanted to talk a little bit more about cryptocurrencies. What do you think is going to happen on the regulatory front? Is a cryptocurrency going to become a security, a commodity, a currency? How is it going to be regulated around the world?
I think the debate is open regarding this, and obviously the end result, whatever governments decide, will not be the right choice. So they have their own agenda, and the free market has its own agenda. So I do not see a positive answer from what's going to happen from regulators. They're probably not going to regulate it as a currency, which it will be the best, obviously. And they're going to try and tax it any way they can and put a lid on it in some sort of fashion. Now, it is important to understand that the word cryptocurrencies does not do justice to these assets, these crypto assets. Some of them are currencies. So Litecoin, for example, or Monero, Dash, They're currencies. They're going to be mediums of exchange. That's what they're trying to be. They're hoping that merchants will start to accept them because the transfer fees are minimal. They're cheap, and obviously the merchants will want to use them if they're less volatile, and in the future they will be great for international business. I'll give you just an example. 33% of all credit card transactions coming out of Africa are fraudulent. So,
wow.
Yeah. So when you deal with Africa, you're dealing with 1 or 3 people who's going to scam you. And so the credit card fees and the banking houses, they don't want to be around that environment. But you and I as entrepreneurs, if we go now to Africa and find a beautiful virgin beach and we want to build a hotel over there, we want to make sure that we know who owns the land and that the government will not be able to seize that land whenever they want or tax you however they want, etc. Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, blockchain in general, and ownership is changing due to decentralization. In other words, there's so much untapped potential just in making sure that all of these people get documented and that all of their land and other assets get put on a database that is incorruptible, which can obviously, it's estimated that the untapped potential just out of Africa, I'm not talking Far East Asia, Latin America, and the rest, just Africa is about $10 trillion for the global economy a year. So you're talking about a massive, massive continent with so many locked wealth that needs a revolution. Now, they're skipping many, many things. In other words, many people have a smartphone, which they buy for about $5 to $15, which they can download an app and trade cryptocurrencies, but they don't have a bank account. In other words, entrepreneurs in Africa, and let's say in an English-speaking country, can create a call center, which are very profitable, and many westernized companies use them, and they can start billing for their services in cryptocurrencies and not deal with the hassles of banks. And then you can go to the microeconomy, your everyday fruits and vegetables for the locals. That could be done better if Bitcoin was able to do transactions for very minimal fees. If you buy obviously $5 worth of vegetables and you're paying $2 in fees, that's not doable. That's why the banks don't do Africa, right? That's why the credit card companies stay away. The risk and the fees are not justifiable. But with Bitcoin, you're getting your money. If you live anywhere in the world and somebody from Africa sends you a Bitcoin, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter from where it's being sent. It's incorruptible. It's on the blockchain. So that's kind of the potential for it going forward 15, 20 years.
Let's talk about the investment part of it now. Because
sure.
If people want to, say they think it has a big future, if they want to invest, they realize it's volatile and risky, but is there a specific exchange that you like? And in addition to Bitcoin, what are some of the coins you think have really good potential right now?
Let's start with that first thing you said, which is volatile and risky. So let's separate them. The risk in cryptocurrencies is that there's 1,500 projects out there, and you can think about them just as you would as 1,500 pizzerias in your nation. So you live in a country where there's many pizzerias. Would you invest? Would you own all 1,500 of them because they all sell pizza? No, right? You want to go with the proven restaurateurs, the ones that have the best product, and the one that has a niche. They're servicing somebody that wants their pizza. So cryptocurrencies are just the same. There are 1,500 of them, but it doesn't mean that all of them will survive and thrive. Just as many pizzerias close every year, right? Half of them about close in the first year, like every other restaurant. So that's the risk. You can. Everything sounds sexy on paper, but it's not. You need to really make sure that you understand that just with any other business, cryptocurrencies are essentially companies, except for a number of them that are truly decentralized, and there's no one behind them. There's no central point of authority. But
so, what would be some of your favorites that you think are going to be much bigger years from now?
Sure. So first of all, we wrote about our top 5 for 2018, you can go to wealthresearchgroup.com/top 5, and you can download a full report about them. We think that privacy will play a big role. And so the privacy coins, the really private coins, where you cannot know who is sending who, what, and how much, it's untraceable at all. These will be very important going forward. One of them is Zcash, another one is Zcoin. Zcoin is much smaller. This is one angle that's important. Then you have other ones which act as little Googles or little Amazons or little Facebooks, because you can build apps on top of them. One would be Ethereum, the other one would be Neo, another one would be EOS. That you can build apps on top of their projects. This is what made Google and Facebook and Amazon so profitable. You can build on top of them. It's just an amazing business concept. Many people have missed out on it, and now there's a second wave. These are the new technological companies that can be there. And obviously, you need to monitor the price before something being a great project doesn't mean it's a great investment. If you bought Microsoft before the NASDAQ bubble popped in 2000, it took you 9 years to recoup your investment.
Yeah.
In other words, 9. So a great investment and a great company are not the same. So
what exchange, if you want to buy Neo and Ethereum and Zcash, what exchange would you use to buy them?
Well, you would go to coinmarketcap.com. You would click on the name of the coin that you're interested in buying, and you would go to the tab that says markets. The tab that says markets tells you which exchanges uses them and trades them. You'd want to stick with the big exchanges. It's just like with stocks, right? You don't want to do any small brokerage firms. You want to do the good ones that are cheap, popular, and everyone else uses, because that's there's a reason for it, right? And so Coinbase is good, Bitfinex. There's a lot of good ones, and you don't need to do too much research on the most popular ones, because the answer is everyone else uses them, and there's a reason for that, right?
And will there be other ways to play these? For example, are exchange traded funds or mutual funds going to be coming that will give a diversified portfolio of cryptos?
There is, but I'll give you a better one. So cryptocurrencies are very, very difficult to trade, because if there's no mania, then there is literally no reason to hold them. In other words, why would you buy a coin today? It doesn't pay any dividend. It doesn't produce any yield. And if there's no speculative mania or anything in baked in the cake, in other words, if there's no evolution real quick happening, short-term catalyst for the coin, you're just holding a coin. You're basically holding a code. And so what we like to do is look outside of just cryptocurrencies and look into a blockchain-focused company with an AI angle, with artificial intelligence angle. And then we don't want the regulatory risk at all. So we're looking for a publicly traded company. For about 10 months, I've looked for a company that can commercialize blockchain with the use of artificial intelligence. And we've only found one company like that in 10 months. I've met with the founder, and he's now the CEO. The company is public for only 1 month, so it's literally under the radar. And
can you tell us what company that is?
Sure. The name of the company is Global Life Technologies. It trades both in Canada and in the U.S. If you want the full research that I did on the company, you can go to wealthresearchgroup.com/live. It's one of my top 4 picks for 2018, and the person behind it, Anthony Lacavera. If you Google him, you'll see he had Bloomberg TV shows. He's in charge of or seeded more than 100 startup companies. He had 5. Make sure
I got, is it globallife.com? What was the actual name of it?
Global Live. So
Live.
Live,
okay.
yeah.
And
yeah.
What is a symbol for it?
It's actually live on Canada, so LIVE, and in the US it's LVVEF. And again, if you want a full blown down research on this, the details, and to understand how they're commercializing blockchain with the use of AI, you can go to wealthresearchgroup.com/live, or you can go to wealthresearchgroup.com/my picks, which includes my 4 top picks for 2018. It's the first time I've done that, Jordan, by the way. Showed people my personal treasure trove, where I'm putting hundreds of thousands of dollars, because I think in 2018, the speculative manias of 2017 are gone, and right now it's time to build positions that are more longer term. And I don't think that there is anything that can really rally hard in 2018, save for cannabis.
Yes, we'll discuss that next. We have to go to a break. This is
Sure.
Jordan Goodman of the Money Answer Show. My guest this hour is Lior Gantz. He's the founder of the Wealth Research Group. You can see he's got a lot of very interesting ideas. His website is wealthresearchgroup.com. We'll be back after this.
Stocks, bonds, investment opportunities, financial news, and talk. We can help. Call us now toll free, 866-472-5790. 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
Attention heroes, current and former firefighters, law enforcement, military, medical, or educational professionals. Heroes can receive rewards averaging over $2,500 when they buy, sell, or refinance a home. Heroes come first. Along with the Homes for Heroes is the nation's largest hero reward program. Their mission is to provide extraordinary savings to heroes who provide extraordinary services to our nation and its communities every day. Learn how you can purchase a home for no down payment, no closing costs, and get money back at closing. Find out how you can own for less than you may pay for rent. Get your hero rewards at heroescomefirst.com. That's heroes, HEROES, comefirst.com. 888-437-6114. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
Do you or someone you love have a life insurance policy that's no longer needed or not affordable? Did you know that you can sell your policy for cash? Your reason for buying life insurance has probably changed. Thousands of Americans turn to life insurance settlements to help sell their policies. They act as your representative, getting the highest market offer for you. You've got nothing to lose by simply inquiring. If you're over 64 with $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may already qualify. Call 877-485-6681 to get your free non-binding appraisal or visit fundinglife.com. Life Insurance Settlements. Discover the true value of your life insurance. 877-485-6681. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
From the boardroom to you, Voice America Business Network.
You've been listening to the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Lior Gantz. He is the founder of the Wealth Research Group. You can find out more at his website, wealthresearchgroup.com. Welcome back to the show, Lior.
Hey, I'm excited to do the second half.
So we talked about cryptos. Let's talk about cannabis.
Okay.
A lot of states are now making it public, or making it legal. Canada has just made it legal. There's been a lot of speculation in that area. What are some ways to invest in cannabis that's not too crazy?
Well, let's first of all get an update of what's going on right now. So Canada is going to fully legalize by October. That's it. It's a done deal. At that point, the U.S. becomes second chair to Canada. You have a president who's a businessman, first of all, and I don't think he will allow the U.S. to fall behind Canada. Let me just remind everyone, Canada is like 35 million people. California is about 39 million people with 250 million tourists a year. It's imperative that the U.S. becomes a cannabis powerhouse much before Canada, because what the Canadians are doing right now is they're preparing to start exporting to the rest of the world, and the U.S. doesn't want to fall behind. And then you have companies like pharmaceutical companies, tobacco companies, alcohol companies that are going to move and hire people in Canada to get around what's going on in the U.S. So big tobacco, big pharma, and big alcohol all want to get to join the cannabis industry, which is just booming and growing. And pharmaceutical companies want to spend money on R&D. Obviously, tobacco and alcohol companies will either merge, consolidate, or build their own brands. And so it's a huge opportunity. And the demographics speak for themselves. Millennials are preferring cannabis to alcohol. From a recreational point of view, if you've ever been high on alcohol and high on cannabis, highs on alcohol go to your stomach, and they can ruin the next day for you. And cannabis, you sleep it off, it's done. So, and if you know how to do it, it's much more dosable. It's much more aesthetic. There's so much that I can talk about here because I've done a 2-year research on this, and I've been to many of the states that are legalized. And I've talked with your brother, who is a global leader in cannabis.
Yes, that's true.
And a representative of the state of Washington, if I'm not mistaken. And so the future for it is insane. That's the first thing. And then I think what's going on right now in the U.S. is Elizabeth Warren has introduced what's called the States Act, which are basically going to say, hey, if we legalize in our state, the federal government can't touch us, which essentially is like federally legalizing, because it means that the FBI can no longer do anything to anyone in the ancillary businesses or in the main businesses that grow the cannabis in states that have legalized. In other words, companies will be able to start their own bank accounts and be treated.
A lot of speculation. So what would be one or two ideas for investment to play this trend you're talking about here in cannabis?
First of all, I think that before we get into investments, I think people can think and choose if they want to be a professional in the cannabis industry. In other words, one of the best ways to get involved with an up-and-coming industry is not as an investor per se, because many people have $3,000, $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 to invest. Obviously, you're not going to become rich doing that. But if you become an entrepreneur, a business person, or an employee, one of the first employees of up-and-coming companies, then you have, you're creating a future for yourself. So, first of all, before you think of what to do with your money, think about if that's a wise career choice for you, because from accountants to media to social media to advertising to supply chain to everything else, the multiplier effect is obviously endless. And if you can provide value to this industry, you are in a situation where you're probably in one of the top 3 growth industries for the next 20 years in the world. So,
okay, but that's good. So, but if you don't want to be an employee and you want to buy some stocks or mutual funds or ETFs, how would you play that?
Well, there's the marijuana index. That's one thing. You can always buy a basket and not do research about any specific companies. But if you're looking for specific companies, Wealth Research Group is actually going to feature our number 1 top pick for 2018 in a number of days. And obviously this is only reserved to the subscribers of Wealth Research Group, because it's a private company. It's going to go public in the next few days, and we're going to be the first in the world to cover them. I'm very excited about that. And obviously in an upcoming show that we do, we can talk about this freely. But
okay.
Right now, we're standing still.
How about anything that's public already that you would like?
Sure. I think a very, very reputable company is called Invictus MD Strategies. The symbol for it is Gene, and it's because one of their employees, basically, is the chief innovator, a chief evangelist, they call him, is Gene Siemens. The guy who, I'm sure everybody knows him,
From
but
Kiss,
he was
right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Very smart individual. I would bet he's 160 IQ. And he is part of Invictus MD. Invictus MD has the largest land base in Canada right now for cannabis. They're growing leaps and bounds, and I think they're headed to be one of the first exporters of Canada. So this is a very interesting play. Wealth Research Group actually covered it when it was $1.22 Canadian. It went all the way up to $2.76 Canadian. And so subscribers made a lot of money with that company in a short period of time. And I think the price has corrected to about $1.60, $1.70 right now Canadian, which offers another entry point before legalization commences. The person behind this company, Dan Krisnick, is one of the best entrepreneurs, bar none, in Canada. I believe this guy will be a billionaire.
In the U.S. and Canada, or is it only traded in Canada?
No, it trades in the U.S. and Canada.
Under the symbol GENE, G-E-N-E.
G-E-N-E is in Canada, and in the U.S., it trades under a different symbol. The ticker symbol on the OTC is IVITF.
Okay, very good. Okay, good to know. Excellent. All right, well, that's all very helpful. Let's move to some other topics here, which is gold.
Sure.
Now, gold seems to have lost a lot of its luster with everything going on in cryptocurrencies, but what do you see as the future for gold as an investment?
Well, first of all, my own strategy, if I may tell you with regards to gold. So what I did, and this is, everyone can do their own calculations, but what I did is I took my monthly burn rate, and just for the sake of this example, let's put it at $10,000 a month. So you multiply your monthly burn rate by 24. That'll give you $240,000, and you convert that fiat into gold. About 80% gold, 20% silver. So you have about 2 years worth of 2018 life expenses in physical gold and physical silver. For me, I have 5 vaults that I store at in 5 different areas. 2 of them in North America, 1 in Singapore, 1 in Europe, and another in Hong Kong. So I have these coins and bars in multiple locations as well, multiple jurisdictions, and that it adds a layer of privacy and protection. Obviously, it's just more diversification. That's it. That's my entire precious metal strategy with regards to the physical metals. I
don't like GLD or SLV or the gold mining shares of any kind?
So you asked about gold and silver specifically with regards to an investment. The first layer is this. Then if you want to speculate, you can go with the gold mining shares. I prefer them to the GLD and the other ETFs because the GLD tracks gold price. But in a gold bull market, the mining shares outperform the spot price by about 25 or 30 to 1 if you choose the right companies. And so, first of all, I treat gold as money, and therefore I want to convert 2 years worth of fiat into it and just store it. Don't touch it. Obviously, if there's a catastrophe, you need to own it and convert it into other things in a potential currency crisis. Now, if the economy is booming and there's a stock market rally, which includes gold equities, you'd want to find the top dogs. That's the only way I can describe it, Jordan. Mining is an insanely hard profession.
Yes.
And it calls for, ultimately, managerial skills. In other words, many businesses don't require high managerial skills. The difference between companies is their products, for example.
So is there a particular gold mining share that you think has good management that you would like if gold were to go into a bull market?
I would say there's 2 major ones that have made me money in the past, big time, and I would bet on them again for sure, yes. One of them is a company that was founded by Amir Adnani, and I would advise the listeners to research Amir Adnani, because this person is by this point a world-renowned business builder. He has 2 companies that he founded and runs. One of them is Gold Mining Inc., and the other one is Uranium Energy Corp. Let's talk about Gold Mining Inc. The reason I love that company is because what they do is exactly what CEOs need to do in order to make money in bull markets and conserve money in bear markets. So Amir's strategy is called an optionality play. So what he does is he waits for the markets to have a very bad sentiment and for companies that have high quality assets to run out of cash and have no ability to raise more money. In other words, they need to close doors and liquidate, and they need to sell at fire sale prices. Then he goes in, and because he knows how to raise money in any given market, he has people that back him. He raises the money and he buys for literally pennies on the dollar. Then what does he do with the assets? Instead of drilling holes and instead of trying to develop them and all of these expensive adventures, he just sits on the asset, does nothing, very low expenses, and just waits.
What is the symbol for Gold Mining Inc.?
Well, what would be the best ticker for a gold company?
GOLD.
Exactly. That's the ticker. So the ticker in Canada is GOLD, and the ticker in the U.S. for Gold Mining Inc. is on the OTC, obviously, and the ticker is GLDLF. I can tell you this. The first time I bought it, it was at 60 cents Canadian many years ago, only when it IPO'd. And then at the bottom of the 2015 cycle, the first company we ever featured on Wealth Research Group was Gold Mining Inc. It was 78 cents Canadian. It then rallied to $3 and change in 8 months in 2016, and it was the 5th best performing company on the TSX that year. Right now, as we're doing this interview, it's about 94 cents Canadian, and I just bought a nice bulk. Let's say last week. So
we have to go to a break. Okay, excellent.
Definitely.
Gold. It's called Gold Mining Inc. Very good. We're going to go to another break. This is Jordan Goodman of the Money Answer Show. My guest this hour is Lior Gantz. He's filled with great ideas, as you can see. He's the founder of the Wealth Research Group. His website is wealthresearchgroup.com. We'll be back after this.
From the boardroom to you, Voice America Business Network.
Looking for an investment option? Consider Secured Real Estate Income Strategies. Secured Real Estate Income Strategies is a real estate-backed option offering investments with a monthly income objective. The goal of the strategy is to lend money to real estate developers. SREIS offers an 8% preferred return per annum, plus a share in any profits. While there is risk, including loss of capital, and you should carefully read the offering circular for full details, Secured Real Estate Income Strategy screens each real estate loan carefully. Call 888-444-2102 or visit securedrealestatefunds.com to learn more. 888-444-2102. Jordan Goodman is an advisor to and part owner in Secured Real Estate Income Strategies. This does not constitute an offer to sell or a solicitation of an offer to buy any securities. Securities offered through North Capital Private Securities, member FINRA, SIPC.
Are you a homeowner tired of making monthly mortgage payments with little progress towards paying down your principal? Does paying off your home in 5 to 7 years without making larger or more frequent payments sound appealing? Paying off your home in full in 5 to 7 years is really possible thanks to Truth in Equity's Mortgage Equity Optimization System, a money management approach that puts your money to work for you 24/7. If you own a home with some equity, have a decent credit score, and verifiable income, you owe it to yourself to learn more about Truth in Equity's program. There's no need to replace your mortgage or refinance in many cases. The system works for new home purchases as well as current mortgages. Your home is your largest investment. Own it outright in 5 to 7 years. Call Truth and Equity 888-262-5540 or visit truthandequity.com 888-262-5540. Jordan Goodman is an affiliate. He recognizes quality solutions, forming relationships to help improve the lives of his listeners.
Get the news on our shows and other happenings by following us on Twitter. Find us at VoiceAmericaTRN or twitter.com/VoiceAmericaTRN.
You've been listening to the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman. If you have a question for Jordan or his guest, please call us now at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now back to Jordan.
Welcome back to the Money Answer Show. This is Jordan Goodman, your host. My guest this hour is Lior Gantz. He's the founder at the Wealth Research Group. His website, wealthresearchgroup.com. Welcome back to the show, Lior.
Hey, thanks for having me. I just want to make sure that if listeners want to have more access to Amir and his companies, you can just go to wealthresearchgroup.com/Amir. And it's about the two companies. It's a special report about the two companies and also about the analyst reports about the two companies. Both of them are price targets of $450 Canadian. And as I said, Gold Mining Inc. is trading below $1 right now, and Uranium Energy Corp is trading for about $1.60 American. So analysts are very bullish. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so let's go to some. So we've talked about cryptocurrencies, we've talked about gold, we've talked about cannabis, all kind of growth situations. But you're also very big on income, and you write about what you call the dividend aristocrats, and particularly Warren Buffett buying insurance companies. What should someone look for in getting an income-oriented stock?
Well, first thing, 71% of my net worth as of today is with dividend aristocrats and with dividend companies. So when we talk about gold and we talk about cannabis and blockchain, cryptocurrencies, these all make up about 10 to 15% of the net worth, not more. And it's because they're very risky, and they are risky because they have a high failure rate. And the only thing you want to fear as an investor is permanent loss. So a lot of companies, they can go down, but they can go up and surpass the cost basis that you paid for them. And so in other words, there's literally a very low probability that you ever buy a stock and from that moment on, it just goes up. Usually you buy a stock and it goes down because most people don't buy at the bottom. And therefore, you've got to realize that there's a difference between companies that go down after you bought them and companies that will go down permanently from where you bought them. And that's the big risk. With dividend companies, I love to invest in them for three reasons. One, dividends make up about 40 to 50% of total returns historically for investors. So when you own a stock, you own a business, a part of a business. And as an owner, you want to split the profits with all the other owners. When a board or a management team decides to pay a dividend, it pays you, the owner of the company, your share of the profits. Now, CEOs have about 5 ways to distribute profits. One of them being dividends, the other one being buying back shares. When CEOs buy back shares of the company from the public market, they essentially shrink the available supply of shares. Thus, they make you a bigger owner of the company tax-free. So in other words, you own more of that asset, but you don't pay additional tax for it. So it's a brilliant strategy. The third thing they can do, and obviously they need to buy the stock when it's cheap. So if they overpay for the stock, it's not good for you as the owner of the company. The third thing that you want to that you expect from management is that they become that they merge or acquire other companies in order to grow. The fourth thing is that they invest in the company itself, in the growth of the company by buying more machinery, hiring, etc. And then the fifth thing is sitting on the cash, doing nothing and waiting. the best companies can do all 5 and still every year increase the dividend payment that they pay to the owners. It would be the same as renting your property to a tenant, and every year he tells you, hey, you know what? I made more money this year, so I'm going to bump up the pay that I give you. That is how amazing it is. So
how do you pick specific dividend aristocrats? Because there's a lot of companies that raise dividends every year. How do you pick the specific ones you like best? There
are 52 dividend aristocrats in the world, so definitely a very small list out of thousands and thousands of companies out there. And the way I choose them is by doing proprietary research that I do for my own sake. It has to do with fundamental, and obviously I'm looking for companies that trade below their historical multiples and have a nice growth perspective going forward, and have a low payout ratio that they can increase the dividend that they're paying, because right now they're not paying a whole lot of their profits for dividends. So there's room for growth.
Typically reinvest the dividends, or you take them typically?
Not typically. All the time I reinvest them. I'm 34 right now, and therefore for the next 40 to 50 years, or however God gives me, I'm going to reinvest those dividends and rely on my active income for wealth. This is my legacy. This is my dynasty portfolio, which ideally I don't ever touch, and I just give to my children. But obviously, if at any point I want to put both legs up and live off the dividends, if you compound right now, then you give yourself a better chance of living off dividends in the future. My top 4 picks for 2018, including 3 dividend aristocrats, you can go to wealthresearchgroup.com/mypicks. But if you want a full library about dividends and Warren Buffett and insurance companies and compounding and all these important subjects that should be the core of your portfolio, you can go to wealthresearchgroup.com/dividend, and you'll find a library that we aggregated from years and years of investing. This is how I got started. Luckily, at age 16, Jordan, I bought VF Corp, which is a company that owns brands like Lee, Wrangler, Timberland, JohnSport, Kipling, and others. And it's a dividend aristocrat. It's the first company I bought age 18, and I still own it today. They have raised their dividends 700% since then.
Very good. Unfortunately, we have to end the show. We've had a lot of really great information here. My guest this hour has been Lior Gantz. He's the founder of Wealth Research Group. You can get all these ideas and many more things at his website, wealthresearchgroup.com. You've been a great guest. Thanks so much for being on the Money Answer Show, Lior.
Jordan, thanks for having me.
And we'll be back next week with another edition of the Money Answer Show. Goodbye for now.
Thank you for joining Jordan Goodman and the Money Answer Show. If you have a question for Jordan, please visit his website at www.moneyanswers.com. And be sure to tune in every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on Voice America Business. See you next week.